All right, well, welcome back, everyone. We start today on the heights where we ended last episode. I hope y'all enjoyed watching the four of these buildings get built, and I hope you're excited for what we're going to do today. So, like I mentioned in the past episode, what we're going to focus on is, well, getting farms up and running. We have a lot we need to do, and yeah, gathering resources to do all that is tedious, time consuming, and can be boring. Our time can be much better spent building new and amazing things all along the heights throughout the city we are going to finish up. But that can't be done until, well, there's an easier way to gather resources. And so over here we started our first large farm of the series, and it was a cobblestone farm. But I want to focus today on building a bunch more. So the cobblestone farm's great to start off with because it allows us to build observers, pistons, repeaters, and everything like that. But for a repeater, you need redstone. An observer, you need redstone and quartz. So there's a rabbit hole of farms we could go down in order to automate everything. And so I think I'll go down that rabbit hole as far as I can tolerate. And the first step in that is a redstone farm. Now, I know that you can make those massive raid farms. Ooh, something's coming for me. That was unusually simple. But I know you can make those massive raid farms that give you tons and tons of redstone every hour. But that's not really what I want to do with redstone. I want to build a witch farm. It's something I haven't built in a long time, and it has just more complexity, which draws me to it more. Next, I want to focus back up here and build a basalt farm. I use a lot of basalt in my builds, and it'll be useful here. But like I said earlier, a basalt farm is going to require observers. Observers require quartz. So we'll need a piglin bartering farm. But then to further go down that rabbit hole, a piglin bartering farm needs, well, gold. Tons and tons of gold. So there's just so much we have to do to properly prepare for this. So instead of just continuing to walk around this area and talk to you, I want to put my words to action. So let's find ourselves a nice swamp that's going to be pretty far away since we are on large biomes. But let's find ourselves a nice swamp with a witch's hut and build ourselves a redstone farm. Then let's go into the nether, break our way up into the nether roof, and build ourselves a gold farm. Then after that gold farm, well, a piglin bartering farm, and after a piglin bartering farm, well, we'll go back and finally finish up our blast chamber there with a basalt farm. So that's where I plan to start, and there's no point in dilly-dallying around. Let's just get right to it and head to a swamp and build a witch farm. All right, and here we are in our nether tunnels, being surrounded by what sounds like piglins, but have made a path successfully to our swamp biome and found a witch hut. And then we followed a tutorial by Logical Geek Boy and made ourselves a very simple and lovely witch farm. So, we come out of the portal here, go back into the regular view. There it is. That is the whole witch farm right there. And it also provided me with a lovely amount of slime as I did this, because as you can tell, they spawn everywhere here. And had I brought my looting sword, would actually get a decent amount of slime from these guys. But let me kill them all real quick. They just graciously come to me, making it oh easy. Anyways, gather those two up as well. This is the whole farm. It is overtly simple and geniusly created. So, let's look right here. You can see we have a witch that has 25 minecarts, entity crams, and then that's just collected right here. Easy as that. You can see I have AFK'd a bit and just thrown out the stuff I don't want. Not good practice, but I won't tell if you don't. But let me explain what this does here. This box is surrounded where a witch hut used to be, and we've got some non-spawnable blocks that follow it, which are going to be leaves. And actually, let's turn on this a little bit so we can see a little better. But just on these wooden platforms, witches spawn, and every so often, A signal sent through these that lowers the trapdoors and floods the place, pushing them off. There's not too much to explain past that. It's simple, easy to use, and whenever we want something, we just AFK at this platform high up in the sky. We lit up the surrounding areas where 128 blocks spawn distance is, and, well, yeah, you can see it right there. Witches spawn, they're pushed down, and then if we look in here, actually, I don't want to pick those up. Let's go to this side. Dang, I picked them up still. Oh, well, what can you do? But they just slowly fill up here with everything I could possibly need. And obviously, it's a lot of stuff. It's pretty effective, and it makes my life easier. So, first checkbox is done, getting redstone. And if I can successfully fly, now we'll just go back into the nether where we just were and hopefully build an incredibly effective and fast gold farm. So let's me hop to that real quick. A gold farm is a decent sized build, so why not? Let's do it to where we'll make a time lapse of us building this gold farm. So hopefully nothing gets corrupted this episode, and we'll head right there and do that. So without further ado, hope y'all enjoy this quick farm time lapse. Oh, right, I was probably too hasty to say jump to a time lapse. We first needed to get on the nether roof. So right here is my spawn chunks nether portal. And so we've just come right above it. I believe this block here should be one layer of bedrock to the top. And if I remember this correctly, we just do that. That ended up being pretty easy. All right, well, now that we are up here, I'm just gonna go ahead and find 0, 0. So let's F3 this real quick. I'm looking at 1, -1. All right, so this is where I plan on centering our farm. Mainly just because, like, why not make it at 0, 0? I know there's not really spawn chunks in the net. There's spawn chunks in the nether? There might be spawn chunks in the nether, and if so, this is going to work out in our favor. So let's now go ahead, jump into that time lapse, and fill this barren wasteland up here with a gold farm. So now we head to a time lapse. All right, and just like that, we finished up our massive gold farm. Again, courtesy to Ilmango there. But something to show you real quick that I only discovered after I built it, and that's, well, why it's missing here. I had to put it up much higher into the sky. So I have now built this twice, and boy, is it frustrating having to crouch on all of that magma as you walk around. It's so slow, there's no swift sneak here. But we did it. We got it done, and as you can see by my 314 levels, it works pretty well. I AFK'd overnight, and I got almost seven, well, a little over 7.5 stack of gold blocks, which is absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what we need, and will lead us on to the next farm, which is just going to be a simple piglin bartering farm. So I'll hop to that, get that done real quick, start doing some trading there to get the resources we need, and I'll bring you back once it's beautifully completed. And yeah, this isn't too much decoration on it. It's pretty standard and simple, but it works fantastically. Actually, let's give y'all a quick little rundown. So as we climb this mile-high ladder into the sky, I'll bring y'all once I'm back to the top. Oh, right, all the way here at the top almost fell off. I would have had to climb that whole thing again. But this is our gold farm. So this middle little area here is what sends the XP all the way up to the player. In this chest, we have some snowballs, so we can aggravate these guys so they run into these holes and fall all the way down. Once they're down, using this little shifting trapdoor method, we make sure to get all of their XP and goodies pushed along ice paths, and those are collected by some hopper minecarts in here that then go through a sorting system, and now each one of these modules is exactly the same and kind of mirrored on both sides. So we'll only look at one area. We have a non-stackable item sorter that gets all those gold swords out of here, and then we have two more sorters here, one for rotten flesh and one for zombie piglin heads, because I don't exactly need those in here, but since we have that data pack on, they come through here since this counts as a player kill them falling to their death. But then the gold ingots, gold nuggets, and a couple of feathers end up in here, and we collect them all later, craft them all up, and that's how we get these stacks upon stacks of gold blocks that we have down here. So, like I said, let's get towards that piglin bartering farm, just right around here as well, why not? And I'll bring you back in with hopefully boatloads of materials that we can now use to build anything and everything we want, especially the back of those builds we did last time. We need to get that finished. It'd be a shame to leave them, untouched. So, give me 1 second. Hopefully you'll see a bunch of snorting piglins around here trading gold for everything. Alright, now that we finished this up, we have a fully functioning gold farm that goes into a piglin bartering farm. Now, this doesn't auto-sort it into the appropriate categories, like there isn't just one chest for blackstone, one chest for gravel, one's for soul sand, etc. But it does what I need it to do. You just come over here, turn it on with that little lever there, and every so often a pulse comes through here, which dispenses 1 gold into each cell where there is 1 piglin. And 1 tick after it drops that gold, another pulse is sent through that puts another piece of gold in each hand. And I have 1 chest up here just because it filters down into here where a sticky piston with slime on it pushes it all the way across and fills up all of the different all the different droppers here. I think I use droppers, not dispensers. Let's double check that if I can. Yeah, droppers. And so that goes through, and then for every 3 of them, they fill up one of these. And I guess technically this is tileable. Your only limitation is how far they can slide across the ice. But just in pairs of 3, I have it come into here, and it makes about 9,000 items per full chest up there. So per shulker box, 9,000 items about, which I think is quite fantastic. So, sticking with another theme though, let's head back into the overworld and now do our basalt farm. And yeah, then we'll hook that up into the blast chamber, and after it's in the blast chamber, we'll build the super smelter so we can turn cobblestone into stone. We got a little more to do on this episode, and I'm excited to get to it. So I guess without further ado, let's just get to that, build it up, and I'll see y'all again in less than 1 second. All right, and just like that, we finished it up. So let me give you a quick tour of it and what it does. So we have three options here right now. We can expand it to many more if we like, but we're starting with three. So we have, thought I saw a creeper. Ah, must have just been that burn right there. Okay, well, we have basalt, stone, and cobblestone. So cobblestone, simple. It just comes up here, turns on the cobblestone farm, and it pushes that into the stone or into the blast chamber. Same with basalt. It comes over here, all the way up to the very top, and turns on the basalt farm. But the one that gets a little complicated is stone. So for the stone farm, as you can probably guess, turns on the cobblestone farm. But this is where it changes. Whereas most items will come here, go into an item or bubble vader, and then eventually get sorted here once I get to that part. The stone actually will push this way and come up into a super smelter over here. Now this isn't anything fancy in it, it's just, water loops with hoppers. But to fuel it, we have a lava farm over here. And so just the combination of the player AFK on this granite slab, getting lava cauldrons pulled out, sending lava buckets into here to keep it fueled, and then this, once it's done, pumps them back through and into the sorting system. So nothing's too complicated. I do realize that after designing this, I have an error in here. I don't know what to do with the buckets after I turn the farm off, because if I let them go, they're just going to come back in here and get stuck in there. So I think I need to put a non-stackable item filter right here, but I'll have to look into how to do that later. But most of this is thanks to Ilmango. He put a nice tutorial on there how to do this blast chamber, and he made this cobblestone generator, and using this knowledge I got from these little arms right here of how whenever a pulse comes across, it pushes down and then we'll push all of the items out. Well, here, let me just show you real quick. Let's turn on the cobblestone, fly back over there, and as you can see, pulse comes through and it pops them out just like that. Pretty nifty, pretty simple. We'll turn it back off now. But yeah, I left myself a couple of notes. There's one spot that where I made them merge, there's sometimes an issue. Sometimes a block gets stuck here, and that makes it to where when basalt pushes down, it can't. And so I have a note that remember to check there before I turn it on, and if there's a block, build myself a ladder. So that's what this farm does. It works pretty well. I get a bunch of items, not sure the exact amount, but it's everything I need for the amount of work I put into here is worth it. It's everything I need for a build, or I can AFK overnight and get all the... I stuck. I can AFK overnight and get all the cobblestone I need for any redstone components or any stone for any redstone components. Stuff like that. We have many options from this, and these are three good base materials that I'm going to use fairly often in builds. So it's good to get this done and have it so that next time we can focus on grander things. So I want to thank everyone for joining. Hope y'all had a lovely time watching. Hope y'all have a lovely day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.